with special guest, former NBA player. Now he plays in South Korea, Chris McCullough. And I'm joined by my co-host, Alyssa Charleston, and special co-host today, Vedant Gupta, 14-year-old kid from Global Kid Media. So we're really excited for this interview. And thank you, Chris, for taking the time today to come on the show. So first of all, how are you and your family doing so far during this new year?
First and foremost, I appreciate for having me on this. But yeah, everybody's doing good. Family's doing well back home. Pandemic hit, but I kept everything together. Keep the family together. Everybody's doing good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no problem.
So Chris, I want to kind of start with where you are right now and let people know you are in South Korea. I know you've played in China as well, but what's the transition like from American basketball to playing overseas, and how is South Korea kind of dealing with the pandemic and fans and all that stuff?
Well, yeah, I'm in South Korea playing basketball. Out here in South Korea, the game is a little bit different. It's very different from the NBA game, the game I'm used to playing. NBA game is more IQ and change of pace. Out here in Korea, everything they do, everything is fast. They want everything done fast. Fast break, outlet pass, everything gotta be fast with them. Like they don't know how to slow down. Sometimes it kind of throws off my game because I'm used to playing NBA game, slow pace, you know what I mean? So, but I mean, it's good. But out here is different from China. China game is a little bit different too. China's a little bit more physical than Korea. But I adjusted pretty well, and I like it.
I guess kind of staying on the theme of international play, going all these different places, how much does that help you learn to love the culture? Because, you go to all these different places, you're interacting with people of all sorts of different backgrounds. How does going to different countries, different cities constantly help you love just cultures and being able to adjust to different things?
I think with me, the main thing with me was, I'm just a people person automatically. So wherever I go, you can put me anywhere. I'm going to make friends. I'm going to meet people. You know what I mean? I like to be around and just falling in love with the culture. Like when I came out here last year, I didn't know nothing of it. I thought it was going to be the same way how China was, but it's totally different. Like a lot of Americans out here. There's things you could do outside of playing basketball that you can have fun. You know what I mean? I fell in love with the culture. I learned some of the language, and I mean everything's been great to me so far.
So I want to ask you about your college career and NBA career before we continue with the overseas career. But obviously, you played college at Syracuse. How many offers did you have before deciding on Syracuse, and what was it like playing underneath Coach Jim Boeheim? Oh. Can you hear us?
Nathan, we lost you.
Oh no, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you played at Syracuse in college, and how many offers did you get before choosing Syracuse, and what was it like playing underneath Coach Jim Boeheim?
That was a good process for me. I probably had over 20 to 25 offers from all major D1 schools. I had Syracuse, Kansas, St. John's, Rutgers, Iowa State, Florida State. I had so many schools, and I always wanted to play for Boeheim. I always liked the Syracuse colors, and I liked the zone they played and how he produced their forwards, like 6'9", 6'10" forwards. So I fell in love with that. And then also I was a big fan of Melo. Yeah, I met Melo when I was in 10th grade, and ever since then he's been like a big idol to me. And then he was one of the main reasons why I committed to Syracuse.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, but just playing out there, playing in the Dome, playing in New York State, it was big. We had one of the largest crowds on campus history ever, and that was a big deal for me.
I'm curious just because I'm from the West Side. So Mike Hopkins came over and started coaching at UW and brought that zone over to the Huskies. Did that zone ever get like tiring in practice, or like, is it like mentally tough to continue to play? Because like I played college basketball and we tried to like emulate some of that point zone, and it's so complicated. Did it ever get tiring?
It never really got tiring. Nah, we practiced zone. We lived and died with zone. Like we never played man to man. We only played man to man practice sometimes. But yeah, like it took me like a whole month and a half, maybe almost 2 months to actually learn the Boeheim Syracuse zone. It's not just a regular 2-3 zone. So it was a lot at first. But once you learn to get it down packed, It was pretty good to me. Like earlier in my career in Syracuse, I was averaging almost close to 3 steals just from playing in the zone. I averaged almost 3 blocks from playing in the zone, so it was good for me.
You know, let's talk more about Syracuse. Coach Boeheim's someone I actually met when I was 11 and I was covering the NCAA tournament in Detroit. And one of the standouts there was Miles Bridges from Michigan State. He talks about now with the Hornets how much his time there helped him prepare for big moments. How much did your time at Syracuse help you prepare for big moments in your career? And what was the biggest piece of advice Coach Boeheim gave you?
For me, it's a little different because I only got to play 15 games because I got hurt my 16th game, so I wasn't in college for that long. So my experience is a little bit different. But one of the advices that he had gave me, what's something he gave me? Just with the NBA draft process in general, he was like, "Yo, you may not get drafted high, you might not even get drafted at all, but the ultimate goal is to get to the NBA. But it is your decision. You're gonna go with whichever one you choose, and just make the right decision. And from there on, you know what I mean, just everything after that became making right decisions."
Yeah. So speaking of the draft, what was it like your draft experience? Obviously, you were in the you guys got invited to the thing, and obviously you got to stay local after Syracuse. You got drafted by the Brooklyn Nets. So take me back to that process. What was that like? Obviously, you're coming off the injury, and how grateful are you that Brooklyn gave you that first opportunity to start your career in the NBA?
Yeah, it was definitely a great process for me. Like I said, it was a little bit different because I was hurt and coming off an injury, so I didn't get the chance to work out for any NBA teams. Everything I had to do was over straight interviews. You know what I mean? I had to sell myself through interviews and things like that. And that's what I did. And when I had the interview with Brooklyn, I kind of already could see how the organization liked me from a long time already. And I just, you know what I mean? I went in there, had a good interview, and it was like, "Yo, if you're still on the board at this certain time, then we're going to draft you." So I kind of knew 2 or 3 months before the draft that I was going to Brooklyn.
Oh wow.
So even on draft night when I got drafted, it was around the 25th pick when they told me like, "Yo, we're gonna call you for Brooklyn. Just be ready. We're gonna pass you your hat and just be ready to walk down the aisle." And that's what happened.
That's crazy to think about, not even being able to work out with NBA teams because you're coming off that major knee injury, ACL. How much did that really affect the rest of like what other teams you were with? And are you still like, obviously you can't go back and change anything, but are you still like happy with that decision? Anything that you kind of think about now with that injury and your entry into NBA life?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with it. Overall, I mean, I didn't have a very long career in the NBA, but you know what I mean, I got to experience it. I went through the draft process, I experienced that, and just to get drafted, that's every kid's dream. So it was big for me. Then I got drafted to my hometown team, so that also was a big plus for me also.
Let's talk about that hometown team. The Brooklyn Nets obviously got the superstars right now, got the weapons. Do you think they have what it takes to go far this year?
Honestly, this year, I don't know how far they're gonna go because I mean I watched a couple games and they lost to teams that they should have definitely beat. And with a lot of NBA teams this year, a lot of teams is losing to teams that they supposed to beat, and they losing. So I mean, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of going on in the NBA, but probably by next year when the teams start to figure out really, everybody get together and they figure out what's going on, then I definitely think they got a shot next year.
Yeah. So speaking of, obviously you played for the Wizards too. Did you see that crazy game against the Nets and Wizards the other day when the Nets caught sleeping in?
Nah.
That was.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the game because the game came on a little later than my time. So I seen the highlights though, and I seen like they went in overtime and the last couple of shots that Bill took and stuff like that. So overall, I mean, I thought it was a good game from the highlights.
I'm curious, what was the toughest thing? As we were 19 when you were drafted, or 20?
I was 20.
20. What was the toughest thing about going into a league of like professionals from, being 20 years old? Do you remember kind of like the toughest transitions?
The toughest thing for me was being a professional. I had to learn that I had a vet, Joe Johnson was my vet back then, Daddy is Young, and with everything that they did, I just kind of like looked and see what they did and try to like copy the same things, like be on time, be early for things. That's the main thing. Really be early and be a professional. It's your job. I mean, it's a gym, it's basketball, but it is a job. You got to come early. You gotta be there before the vets get there. You gotta be in full sweat, working out, be ready to take shots and work out again after practice. So just doing the little things. I think that kind of helped me.
Yeah, that's a lot for a 20-year-old to like just jump into like your progression.
Honestly, I had to be in the gym before that. That's the year Kevin Garnett. That was his last year on the team, but he was just coming in the gym, just working out, and he made it. He made it for me like, yo, you got to be in the gym. You got to beat me in the gym before I get there. So I had to wake up extra early to beat him in the gym, and he was getting to the gym at 5 a.m. Yeah, for 2 months. I do that for 2 months.
Wow.
I got a question about, with COVID-19, obviously in the NBA, things were different, as I'm sure they were in everywhere. If you think about when you were playing in the league and in different places, how much does the crowd energy matter to you? Is that something that you kind of feed off of, or is that something that you tune out regardless?
Yeah, I think the crowd energy matters to every professional athlete, especially when they have home games. But for me, when I was with Brooklyn, I was doing early morning games with the Long Island Nets, and then at night I was playing with the Nets. I was doing 2 games a day. So with the Long Island Nets, they had games that it was no fans. So I was already used to that. So when I came to Korea, we had no fans. It was like it is what it is. It's still basketball. You still got to go out there and play and try to win a game. So I was already accustomed to that. So it kind of really didn't hurt me.
So what was it? Obviously, in Brooklyn, you guys had you came after the that big trade they did before. So what was it like playing with ISO Joe, D Will, and then Kevin Garnett? And what was it like just learning from Kevin Garnett? Obviously, one of the greats to play in the NBA.
Yeah, just learn from him. Like I said, just main thing was being a professional, being on time, and being early for things, and just outworking people. Like one thing he taught me that he was big on was pick and roll, right? Like he wanted to learn how to become great at that, and he mastered that, and also like getting in people's heads, soaking them through the games, and doing things like that. So I kind of tried to copy some of his things. I try to copy some things Joe did before the games, like even like lift weights before the games, and do little things, like get on the treadmill and run before games, little things like that.
Where do you think your game has expanded the most since starting to play overseas, like China and now in South Korea? Where have you expanded your game? Because like I've seen highlights of some of the Korean stuff already, and you can do all the things as a guy who's 6'8". Where are you working on, and where do you think you've improved basketball wise?
From the NBA to now?
Yeah, or just like mostly since like playing overseas, like what have you been able to tweak in your game?
Well, not really tweak, but just working on my overall game. Like when I first got overseas, my first place I went was to China. When you go to China, you kind of like the man of the team. It's you and there's another player that's really the man of the team. So they expect you to do everything. So the ball kind of was in my hand. So I was able to get the rebound, bring the ball up the court, shoot the shot, set a pick on that. I was playing 40 minutes a game with balls in my hand. So I was able to do a lot, and my game expanded like that. I got comfortable being uncomfortable.
A lot of times on my show, I ask about when you go to different countries, there's people from all different, countries and speak different languages. Have you ever run into an issue in game where you can't understand what somebody's saying, maybe a coach, maybe a player? There's a miscommunication because of a language barrier?
Yeah, definitely all the time, even in Korea. But I mean, I kind of know most of the words that they're saying in Korean, so I pick up on it. And but we get assigned translators. I got a translator that's near me the whole game. I walk to the timeout, he's right there. He's saying what coach's saying, so it's not that bad.
So with all the experience you have right now in overseas and in Korea, and would you consider going back to the NBA if someone gives you the opportunity?
Of course. Even when I was in Lithuania this year, I had teams call me. I had Detroit call me, Rockets call for me. So I know it's still an opportunity out there for me, but I just had to take what's out there for me for now, which was the Korean job again. So when the opportunity comes, I'm just going to take full advantage of it.
I think a lot of people don't understand that a lot of guys do go overseas and play to get minutes and get time because there's so few positions in the NBA that are open, like getting those reps and like playing overseas. So and then coming back and playing in the league. What do people not really know about playing overseas? How lonely can it be sometimes? And just kind of like your everyday life and being way ahead of time of all your friends in America.
Yeah, it definitely gets lonely out here. Overseas definitely not. It's not for everybody. One thing you got to do is fall in love with the culture wherever you at. Because you could go overseas, like where I was at in Lithuania. There's nothing going on out there. There's no nightlife. There's not really much going on, and it rains every day. It's like no sunlight. You could be miserable. I was miserable out there because there's nothing to do. Now I was bored. Usually when I go overseas, I usually bring a friend or two to keep me company. But out there I was by myself. But it could be a lot. It definitely gets lonely. Most Asian countries you go to, when you play games and you lose games, the coach is blaming on you, the teammate blaming on you, so you may be going through that. It's a lot. You just gotta get used to it. A couple years, you get used to it.
Let's talk about Lithuania for a second. So I talked to Iggy Brasdeikis, who's now with the Knicks, a few years ago, and he was at Michigan. And his dad was a big MMA fighter, big into some martial arts. And he made an interesting comment. He said nobody in North American basketball could take him on in a fight. First and foremost, would you like to call out anyone for a fight? We've seen a lot of that recently. And number two, talk about that Lithuanian culture. Do you see the martial arts, the fighting? And have you at all tried to learn that, take any classes? I mean, you mentioned being bored.
I never even took no classes. No, I'm never did that. I didn't even know it was big out there like that, to be honest. Yeah, I was out there. I go to the gym and be in my apartment. I really didn't do much, so I wasn't really sure about the country like that.
So let me ask you this for the season. What have you guys been focusing on this season? Obviously, you've been playing games, and so what are you guys' goals? And what did they say about like when it comes to playoff time or whatever you guys do? Is there like fans in the stadiums now, or what are the protocols there right now?
Yeah, so in Korea, so anywhere near Seoul, which is the capital, there's no fans. But anything outside of that, 2 hours, 3 hours away, there's fans at the games. So I live 30 minutes from Seoul, so my home arena, we have no fans. But besides that, the playoffs, it's 10 teams in Korea. Only 6 teams make the playoffs. So whoever got the best, the best record gets in the top 6. Oh, wow. So right now we just focus on taking it game by game and getting win by win. That's about it.
Last main question from me. I'm curious if you have somebody that you look to and like have get asked for guidance, whether it's someone in the NBA or someone you've always known, to get you through tough times. Because I'm sure like playing overseas, not easy. The grind of the NBA, not easy either. Who do you look to guide you and kind of keep you positive?
I'm real close with John Wall. He's one of my teammates on the Wizards. I keep up with him. We keep up with each other. We talk about basketball and just life in general on a daily basis. So I keep up with him, and also Alex McClain. He worked with the Wizards also. He's a trainer on the Wizards. When I got there, it was his first year. So me and him worked together every day. Even this summer, I was out in Miami. We was all training together. So I reached out to him too. He also played overseas, played in the Philippines, played in China, so he know what the life is about.
Actually, me and Vadon had Alex McLean on the show.
Yeah, I seen that one.
Yeah, that's a guy. I want to ask you, throughout this whole career, there's a lot of things that go on off the court where you got to learn the life lessons, got to pick up things about values. What can you do off the court to stay active in your community? I mean, we see someone like Kobe, who's like a great example of that. What's the best advice, just curious, that you've got for someone for off-court things and life lessons in general besides just basketball?
For me, I always get back to the community every summer. I usually do different basketball camps throughout the Bronx, or I might go to my old middle school. I might go there. I might talk on graduation, or just getting involved with like the younger kids. Anything with the younger kids, get involved. If it's like going to a gym to see if they can get gym time, I do that. Just to stay in the community.
So for you, how tough is it being away from your family? And obviously you have a kid too. So how tough is it being away from your kid when you're in Korea?
Yeah, I got 2 kids, I got a boy and a girl. Yeah, it's very tough. You know what I mean? my daughter's only, she's turning 2. She's 1 now. She's turning 2 this month. And it just having to talk to her through FaceTime, like every day, it's kind of like an ongoing thing, which I know it's get annoying after a while. But my son, he's old enough to know where I'm at and what I'm doing and why I'm doing this. So, you know what I mean? It keeps me going.
So
I did have just like a quick question about kind of growing up in the Bronx and just like how much that means to you. You stayed, went to Syracuse, went to Brooklyn Nets, drafted by Brooklyn Nets. How like strong is that bond to the Bronx for you?
Very strong, because before me it was Kimba, and before him it was, I forgot who it was, somebody else that's out of the NBA years ago. So it was a big thing to me. That's why I try to do everything in the Bronx. Like if I have a camp, I do it in the Bronx, or I do it in a different neighborhood in the Bronx. Just so I'm around the community, people see me and see I've made it to it. Opportunities out there for everybody.
So we do this like rapid fire segment on the show, but before we get to that, I want to bring this up. We're all part of the Hugh Jackson Foundation. This is we're trying to help prevent human trafficking. Last month was human trafficking awareness month. So when you guys get a chance, please check out the Hugh Jackson Foundation. I'll send you the page. We're really grateful to be part of it and trying to make the community more safer. So so you're
strangers to changers.
Yeah, strangers to changers. Yep. You ready for the rapid fire segment?
Yep.
All right. Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Kevin Hart.
Are you a no notifications guy or like a 45 notifications guy on your phone?
No notifications.
Favorite food from any overseas country?
I like the chicken. I like the chicken in the Philippines. They make pretty good chicken out there.
Favorite memorable game that you played in Syracuse, NBA, and Korea so far?
Syracuse would be the game we played against St. John's. We lost that game, but it was like a rivalry game, so it was a big game. And you said favorite NBA game?
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say my first game after my injury, just coming back and scoring my first points.
Favorite player wise, Kevin Garnett or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
Who's the biggest jokester you've ever played with?
Rondé Jefferson.
Outside of playing basketball, what else do you like to do?
I'm more of a 2K guy. Play 2K. Play Call of Duty. I actually play Call of Duty on the mobile.
Oh,
it's
wow.
actually better than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I do that a lot. I spend most of my time doing that. Yeah.
Is the internet in South Korea as good as it's like rated to be?
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty good out here. It's real good.
Yeah.
It's real good out here. Yeah, it's big. It's big.
I'll ask about, through all these different countries, what's been your favorite as far as attractions and things to do?
My favorite country, I'm gonna say Korea, because it reminds me of, like, it gives me a city vibe. It reminds me of New York almost. But I also like Philippines, just because of basketball wise, like they're so big on basketball out there, and out there it's crazy because I came out there and won a I was one of the youngest players to ever win a championship when they first year out there on the team, and the way they treat me is the way how LeBron get treated out here. So I just love it out there.
Oh wow. So speaking of Melo, what's it like seeing him now succeed still in the NBA, playing for Portland, and continuing his career?
Yeah, I mean, I was hyped to give him the opportunity again to play basketball. I don't know why they even thought that he wasn't good enough to play a year or two ago, which didn't make sense to me. But just seeing him out there, I always study his game. So anytime he's playing, I'm watching.
Have you had any major mistakes, like food wise, ordering wise, bringing groceries home? Because you guys you're working with symbols rather than like words, English words. Have you had like mistakes with what you've ordered and like stuff you're not so into?
For the most part, no, because if it's something I don't know about, I'll call my translator, or usually my translator right there for me. So I never had a mistake for it. Yeah.
Can I do a flip the switch?
Yeah, sure.
Say it again.
All right, so I do this segment on my show. It's called Flip the Switch. I have the person I'm talking to ask me a few questions. So we want to test your media skills on the show. We're going to put you on the spot and have you ask all three of us a few questions. You ready?
Oh, man, it's going to be hard.
Oh.
There you go.
Test my media skills. Well, I'm gonna ask you since you 14. So how did you get into doing this?
It was actually that NCAA tournament in 2018 was the first time. So there's an application for Sports Illustrated for Kids, and they wanted you to go interview someone locally. And to me, I was like, I got to go bigger than local. So I called 100 different people pretty much at Michigan State who was at that tournament, and somebody gave me access. So I just went there, covered it, did about 100 interviews that weekend, and talked to everyone, Coach Boeheim, Coach Izzo, all the players. And then since then, I've met with Coach Boeheim 2 or 3 more times, once at the Final Four in 2019 and once at the Hall of Fame ceremony in 2019 as well. And I think I've done about 1,500 interviews so far and 200 plus hosted shows, but I'm just trying to show millions of other kids it's possible too to start young.
Yeah, that's dope. I actually grew up with a kid. You heard of Alex Klein?
Say that again?
Alex Klein.
I'm not aware, no.
Oh yeah, he's from Jersey. He actually started out with the same way you did. I think he was like 15 or even 14, and he started out. I think he put together like a high school all-star game, raise cancer awareness, and ever since then it just took off.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's honestly dope. So who I go to next for the next question?
Go. Can you hear? Like, keep.
Nathan.
Go to Alyssa first. Ladies first. Can you hear me?
All right, cool.
Yeah, it keeps lagging. I don't know.
Yeah, how you good?
Yeah.
It put switch back to her screen. Or I don't know what it's doing.
Okay.
Or do I just ask the question?
Yeah.
All right. So who's the biggest athlete or anyone who you interviewed so far, and why?
Ooh, that's a great question. Let's see. Marcus Allen, for sure, Raiders. But I'd say Marshall Falk. He was at a Coeur d'Alene like golf tournament.
That's crazy.
Yeah, legendary running back. So super great guy. And I got to go 3. Desmond Mason is like my favorite Sonics player all time, even though he went to the Bucks eventually. But yeah, I'd say Desmond Mason, a super funny guy. And like Marshall Falk was also hilarious. They were all like at a celebrity golf tournament and just like messing around with each other, drinking occasionally, getting a little crazy on the golf carts, all that stuff. So
That's
I'd
dope.
say those 3 guys.
That's dope. My last question. Let me think of something else. What are the pros and cons of doing this job, this interview job?
I guess the pros for me is when the guests say yes and the pros for me when the guests say yes, and the cons when the guests say no. And obviously I've gotten a lot of no's when in this business, and I've gotten a lot of yes. So I think the pros for me would say reaching out to these people and getting a yes is worthwhile. And obviously to be persistent in this business, and the cons saying when people say no and you've been reaching out to them for like 2 years or whatever, how long you've been reaching out, and then they say no, and that I think that's a cons for me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be a part of this, man. We made history. What is it? 600 and what?
You're a 683rd episode.
Man. I remember you hit the 500 mark.
Yeah, I think I sent you that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that one.
But so the last 2 things here before we let you go. This is a question I've been bringing up to all my guests. Obviously, you're a girl dad. You have a daughter too. The late Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, and the rest of the people that were involved. And obviously, last week was their 1-year anniversary. And do you have any like Kobe memories and Gianna memories? And obviously, you got to play against Kobe, right, when you were in the NBA?
Yeah, no, I didn't play against him. I didn't play. So when I was in Brooklyn, he was on his farewell tour, and he came to Brooklyn to play against us. And he didn't play that game. I was real mad he didn't play that game because I wanted to really play against him.
Yeah.
And they gave everyone. I think what's it called? I think it was called like the last game. It was like Kobe 9's last game, whatever. It was like a black and gold pair of Kobe's. And I tried to get my sneaker signed right after the game, but he left like the end of 3rd quarter. which was crazy, man. How you leave the end of the third quarter? The game didn't finish, and he already left. So I never got my shoes signed, so I was mad about that. But I was just happy to be in the presence with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, everybody in the league got, or just like whoever he played got those
Yeah,
shoes?
not yeah. Everyone in the league. Well, if you were a Nike player and you was in the league during that time, everyone got them Kobe's.
That's so cool.
So
I had posted an Instagram picture on my page. I don't know if you've seen it, but I posted it.
Did you? I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses and doctors and essential workers right now?
Well, so first and foremost, I appreciate it. I hope everybody in the world appreciate what they're doing for the country and worldwide, because this pandemic was so crazy and it only got worse. But hopefully it's getting better and things go good from now on. 2021. Hopefully have a good year.
Yep. Well said, and that wraps up episode 685 for the NR Hour Sports Show with Chris Mccullough, former NBA player, now plays in South Korea. And thank you for joining us today. This is truly an honor. I'll be posting this on all social media formats so people see your story. Keep up the grind, keep up the hard work. We'll stay connected, and hopefully you get another opportunity in the NBA because you deserve one. You've been working hard in Korea. I've seen you play. I've seen obviously highlights, and I've been following your career. From Syracuse to Brooklyn and to Washington until now. So I'm hoping someone calls you. Brooklyn needs a lot of help on the front court. So maybe they should call you and bring you back to Brooklyn.
Hopefully they do, man. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. But I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.